Hey, what's up, guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome to another stream here. And this is going to be the event Entropy's End. It is a Dark Commander event, and we're doing a event preview. Just wanted to say hi to everybody in the stream already, and also wanted to give a shout out to everyone here. And we have a couple of special guests with me today. We've got KTC Esquire and Furion Cloud. Both are members of War Beast. They joined us, and also they have a podcast which I've announced. I mentioned it a few streams ago. It's called GameOfZeros.com. So I just wanted to welcome them and say hi to everybody here. So KDC Esquire and Furion, want to say something?
Hey, it's Katie or KTC Esquire.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Fury Cloud.
So, for those of you watching, one of the things I've always wanted to do is get some different, perspectives from the community, and we've had MTM as well as Sniper Weed on, and we've also had Spicer. Now we've got some of the members from the top guild, Warpies, and we're definitely going to be talking about some of the interesting things there. And they have a podcast that they do on a weekly basis, so we're going to be talking about that as well. But first, what I want to do is spend a few minutes to kind of go over the deck here. I spent a few minutes kind of looking at the deck, and I've been just kind of analyzing what it is about, and so far it doesn't look too different than what we've already seen, but there are some differences. So just before we go in, just kind of want to say hi to everybody in the chat here. So we got Paul, looks like you've been waiting a while there, so you joined early. Nice to see you. Got a Reaper and Fernando, Ethan, Brian, Kraken, John Wilson, Ace, and we've got also Tame Beast, Gary, Gandhi, Jill, Want to Know, Ben, Ethan, and the Quiet Guy, Sandra, Debbie, Naya, and Jeremy and Jeffrey. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thanks for joining me. All right, so let's take a look. So this is a Cthulhu-themed event, and I think this is actually one of the cooler arts, right? And I think just from the chats earlier, Katie, it sounds like this was also
Yeah, I think the art is really cool. But
yeah,
for me, it reminds me less of, how do you actually say that? Chulu? I always just call him Choo Choo.
a choo
But
choo.
he doesn't really look that much like Choo Choo to me. He looks more like my personal favorite card of all time. He looks like Golgroth to me. He looks like a toad.
Right. Yeah. So I know that the Toad is one of your favorite GVG defenders. You have a
Favorite.
lot of them, and yeah. So I had a hard time pronouncing it for a long time as well. But I think it's called Cthulhu. So like the C is a hard K
Cthulhu?
sound.
Yeah, Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cthulhu. So yeah. So
Cthulhu, yeah.
it is yeah. So it's all like the dark theme, like these creatures. And if you take a look at the cards, the event cards themselves, they are basically the reprisal of the fire giant as well as the water dragon deck. So if you take a look at the master collection card, it basically creates 4 dark power gems, and it gets double when it's under the effect of madness buff. They do have a passive skill that gives you 100%, 1000% heal recovery. So I think this is new. I can't remember if the fire dragon had that heal from the master collection card, but this is something that I think is new, and it increases the attack. Now the thing is, when you add a 30% attack in commanders, I feel like it's a little bit less pronounced than in Slayers. Like I've mentioned this before. So again, like to me, I just don't know how much of a difference it really makes. And if we take a look at the event card, so that was I forgot the name already. So that was Abyss Lord Nodius, and then you've got this guy Shub Niggurath. That's the event card, and this guy has his lore written in Cthulian or Cthulhuese or speaking Choo Choo. I kind of like that actually. I thought that was really they speak choo choo. I think that's what we're going to go with from now on. All right, and the battle skill here is very similar. It creates 4 Dark Power Gem 1s, and it gets doubled under the effect of Madness buff. So this is basically the same as what we're used to seeing if you've played with the fire giants or the water dragon deck. But then the new thing here is, if you take a look at the support card again, they don't show you the 6 card stats, but basically this card now, it creates 1 dark gem only when you're struck by an enemy, and it can go up to 4 times here. So this is different than how it used to be, where before you would basically activate a skill, it's just going to create gems for you every turn for 4 turns, and then afterwards it'll basically activate this buff that then doubles your master collection card and also ultimate form and your event cards. What I don't like about this mechanic, though, if you pay attention, is that this is a commander event, so you do get attacked every turn. But this means you can't use this mechanic in a Slayer event where you only get attacked once every 2 turns. And so to me, it's kind of like, and I also never really like the skills where it's chained. Like you need this in order to activate your other cards. So it's one of those things where I'm just not sure if I enjoy as much. I feel like this is not as fun as when it first came out. Now that it's the 3rd time around, like I know that Furion and Katie, like I know that you just had a chance to take a look. I'm not sure if you had a chance to really digest it or what you think, but I'm curious to know too, like what are your thoughts about this particular event, and also just kind of everybody kind of deals with event cards a little bit differently. Like what are your thoughts like when you look at an event deck? What intrigues you, what interests you?
I think it depends on the event a little bit. So in Slayer it's obviously speed, so if this was a Slayer deck I would say like absolutely no chance, right? It's a 4-turn deck. It involves too much, like basically attacking mid-turns. There's nukes involved. Exactly, it's just too much. But I mean, it's basically a dupe of 2 previous commander decks that worked fine. I guess they're a little bit slow in the sense that they're 4 turns, but you can pretty easily 1-key with these decks because the heal appears to be very good. I mean, so basically that heal aspect is not something that's present on the previous decks, and I actually think it does have a fair amount of value. The difficulty is that it will make a slow deck even slower because it requires you to attack. So you'll see actually additional animation time, plus you actually have to attack, which is a little bit easier in Commander since you have the guaranteed Commander gems on the board. I guess what intrigued me a little bit is that the deck does synergize with the Gen 2 Dark God Slayers. So you could put the Dark God Slayer as your leader. It still will boost all of the other cards. And because both the Master Collection or the Ultra Forge will spawn 4 power gems, you'll get the guaranteed 4 gems that you would need for Hell's like double activation, which could make the deck a little bit faster.
Right. And so that is a very good point too. It is a Dark God deck, and so I'm showing right here we've got Hell and also Soul Reaper. These are also options. In fact, when we had the Fire Giants deck, I basically ran it with 2 Thoths. So it's the same idea. You don't get the bonus from the commander cards, but this is definitely going to help, I think, deal a lot of damage. So I guess this is going to be an easy 1-key type deck for anybody who's using this.
And you can reuse your dark god relics, because the reality is that you don't really, because it's 4 turns for that bonus anyway, you should be able to get to 50 commander intensity without necessarily having to run all dark commander relics. So you could probably reuse dark god relics also.
Right. Yeah. So we have, for anybody who's played for a while, there's actually been quite a bit of dark, not just dark, god relics that's been around for a while. So there's a lot of choices there. I like it better when they come back with the event cards that have types that we've seen before, unlike there's cursed and elf and those ones that we don't have any relics for. Like those make it really hard to get the gems in the beginning too.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you know what? I'm also going to go ahead and collect some runes right now while we're here. So just for some context for KTC and Furion, one of the things that I also noticed is, whenever I choose to open runes or packs or anything like that, luck usually doesn't go my way, but just going to see if things get better this time. And it looks like I got I got my duplicates. So you'll see that it's just something that just happens. I can't explain it, but we're back to runes. So this is also another thing I wanted to talk about. So we just went through an event where it was all dust. It was all just rune dust, and there's been I've had my views on it. I've sort of given my take on it, and now we're back to the rune system. What do you guys think? What do you prefer better? Did you prefer the rune system or the dust system?
Well, we actually it's funny, I just posted our latest episode on gameofzeros.com, and somebody actually wrote in last week and asked MTM the same question, and he gave his opinion on it, and so go check that out, everyone. who's watching, definitely go listen to that, and you can get his insight on it. But from my take, I actually, I it was disappointing because I wasn't able, I didn't get lucky, and I wasn't able to get the MC, so I was not able to get the UF. But I tried to take away from it that since it was, obviously free dust in every pack. I did try to take away from it that I did get a lot of extra dust. So if it does stay with this rune, or if it does stay runes, which they said it is going to, and of course, that could change. But for now, if it does stay runes, then, I'm that much closer the next time a Water Slayer event rolls around. So it was, I got mixed emotions about it only because I was bummed, because especially when I saw a lot of other people getting lucky with the packs and stuff like that. But, the takeaway was, hey, you got a lot more free dust than you normally would. So.
Right. That's where I was at as well. I also didn't craft the Master Collection card. I ended up getting enough dust, but I chose not to craft it. I ended up saving all of my dust so that I could use it.
I think that's a good move. I would have done the same thing. I'm close, and I obviously did do the same thing, but I just didn't get it. But I'm close, so I agree with you.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for. Keep my fingers crossed that runes will be available at least for the next water event, so that we can at least use all of those dust that we saved up. And now I did see some people mention in the chat. I see one that mentioned about using Wasteland Spectre, and so so Wasteland Spectre is a ultimate. It's an ultra rare card that does create Pyrogen Force as well, so it is an option. It also gives a commander bonus. The other one I like to use was either the Mouse King, but it doesn't give any bonuses, or couple that. I used to couple that with the what was the name of that? The Crystal Phoenix. Like these are all cards like they're much older that create Pyrogen Force as well. These are all options as well. So usually I would have a stream on Thursdays to talk about deck building as well, so we can kind of talk about the various ideas there, but I'm not going to be able to do a stream this time, although I will come up with a video for some of the ideas before that. Now, there was a question here. So Hunter Coker, if you don't have enough Dark Commanders, will a Dark Slayer team work just fine? And the answer is yeah. So the way the commander bonuses work is that the commander bonuses apply to all of your dark, if you're running a dark team, they applied for all of them. So let's say you have mostly Slayers and then you have a couple of commanders in there. That bonus will be applied to your entire team as well. So you will get a little bit more boost. You're going to deal less damage than what you're used to seeing in a Slayer event, just because you will lose that individual bonus. But if you don't have good commander cards, using a Slayer might be okay as well. It all depends on what cards you have. So I think Furion actually alluded to a little bit, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about your podcast. And so, so you said you just came out with a new one, and MTM actually has been on it a couple of times now. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about what it's about? And I mentioned it, but I think it would be better for you to kind of explain what people can expect when they listen to the podcast. And I think you also give some sort of special incentives for people to listen to the podcast. Want to talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah. So Katie and I, we've been doing really well, trying to stick to a schedule, except for this week we got a little far behind just because of some real life stuff. But every week we try to do an episode, and they're usually around 15-20 minutes long. And we had MTM on the last 2 weeks, actually, which was really cool. And honestly, we try to talk about anything that just comes up, anything game related, anything new. I do have a form on there for people to ask questions, but the one thing that I do is I have a giveaway each week, and I basically give away anything that's in my guild gift inventory. So, and I always include 20 gems. So at least I know it's trying to buy listeners, but I'm totally fine with that. I'm definitely not above that. But I just want people to, I definitely obviously want people to come and check it out, because I want to give some value to it. But I also thought it would be just a cool idea just to run a giveaway, and all it is it's just, you fill out, it's your in-game name, your guild name, if you have a line ID, and then every week I just ask a different question. And the reason why I wanted people to fill it out, and I figured that we could get a lot of good topics from that, and we actually have. So it's worked out pretty well. And like I said, having having guests on like obviously like you do, I think I would love to keep doing that. I haven't watched. What's funny is I've seen a couple of your live streams, and I'm always so impressed just because of all the interaction and everything else. And obviously, the podcast is a lot different, but I think having, like you were saying too earlier when we started, having players on, having players from different guilds on, I think that's a lot of value, that basically can help everybody at any level, and especially when it comes to, uh, especially if it's people that have been around for a while too, because getting advice, uh, just from players, like for example, that's why I love when, if anything you talk about deck related, I love hearing. Katie is always so, she loves talking about the decks and loves talking about deck building. So anything like that, I think people get a lot out of it. So I'm gonna basically, I was trying to do something along those lines, and that's, and we came up with this, and we've been doing it a couple of weeks, and it's been going pretty well. So we're gonna continue to do that. It's gameofzeros.com. If you go there now, you can actually, I want to make sure it's up before I say this, just in case anybody goes and looks right now. Yeah,
It is up. It is up.
Okay, good. I couldn't remember if I changed the giveaway form or not. That's so terrible. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I definitely, there's a new giveaway form up. So yes, you can go and fill that out and enter to win the giveaway for next week. And then, but yeah, so we're gonna be doing that, for as long as we can, and we'll see how it goes. So.
Okay.
And
Great.
I think for me, what I found was that, it always struck me that the resources for new players in particular there is not a lot of material from Network directly onto how to play this game, or suggestions or tips as to like some of the extremely minute but actually very important details of the game. And so the way I learned was from players, and so it struck me that this was an easy forum for us to help out some other people, and in some respects save people money, because I know at least when I started the game, I certainly wasted money on things that were just preposterous. I think I bought that premium hero pack once for like 500
Oh
gems.
no, yeah. I think I was, when I first started, I did that as well. So
I
yeah.
did. I did too, yeah.
I think we all had done
Right, the
something.
So
premium
basically, we're
hero.
telling everyone listening, don't buy that pack if you'd rather go through
Don't buy the Warden pack either.
that.
Well, that's great. So one of the things I think, I've always advocated for is just getting the word around. Different communities and different members have different things that we're all trying to do to help the community. And I'm always encouraging others to come up with some content as well and to share that content. So that's why I wanted to have you come on board to kind of talk about that. But more than that, also given that, you guys are a part of Warpies, and I think this is one of those times where, when I first started playing, I've known about Warpies for a long time, and it's always been just known as a top guild. But what people don't know, and since I've been interacting with you now, Katie, for a while now, I know who you are, and I know about the how things are, but not everybody really knows. So I'm, I just for the benefit of other people, like, can you tell me a little bit about, like, hey, what's like in the life of a guildmate in Warpies?
Yeah. So I joined WB at 33 days in, so I haven't had a lot of exposure to other guilds. I have now been in WB since September of 2017, with a brief stint in Monkey Tree. WB is the sort of main, it's not the main guild. We have an alliance with 4 other guilds. There's WB2, WB3, WB4, and GVG guild. A portion of it is really just a social aspect. We have a global chat, so we have like 200 members in a global chat. A lot of it is a lot of shenanigans, is the best way I can describe it. But I think that at core, what we wanted was people who have a sort of a digital friendship, because the reality is that, speaking truth, the game is not engaging enough at the moment to really make it worth the amount of time and money we spend on it, absent the guild. And so for us, it's always been, the priority has been not to be the first priority for WB is always to be the top of the guild leaderboard, with the tangential benefit of typically that will also involve benefits for you on the solo leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what we have always strived to be is that there isn't a player that is the strongest player that carries the rest of the guild. It's all supposed to be about teamwork and sort of working together to develop the best strategies. We have sort of expertise in different areas, and so people all sort of try to contribute together to sort of benefit the guild as a whole. But I think that the reality is that the guild is like what you would imagine, a very weird group of friends who spend an extraordinary amount of time tagging things.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of effort that goes into it, like regardless of what like what people might think. I know what it's like to be really committed and to spend a lot of time just to make sure that you can get everybody involved, in the coordination there is definitely something that is to be admired. So I just want to say good job there. I know you led the War Beast for a long time there. And is there any advice you could if you were to give any advice at all, what would you say to people who are aspiring to be getting better at either guild versus guild or some other aspects in this game here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that take the off days to just like poke around at things is one of the best things I can sort of suggest doing, is looking at cards you haven't looked at for a long time and figuring out why you have it and what synergies they could have, like practicing it on the campaign or otherwise practicing for GVG practice is really how I learned for most of GVG. Trying out different things and sort of trying to understand why what I'm doing why there's slight deviations and things have resulted in different results, right? So this is going to sound really dorky, but I record most of my gameplay when I'm practicing, and I will go back and look at it and try to ascertain what did I do this way, and why did that mean that I beat this card and I didn't the other time? Because a lot of times there's some mysteries involved in the game, like what is the result of rage bonus on the 4th versus the 5th card, sort of how is the power generated from GVG relics versus the power generated from the cards contributing to either my success or failure at killing it. So I think that it's a weird suggestion, but it does help a tremendous amount in terms of I studied my gameplay a little bit particularly when I was first starting, in order to figure out, you'd be amazed how many players don't realize the difference between connecting all of the gems in one blob versus connecting the gems in 2 blobs, and the damage output. And so it's things like that. Sometimes I do run quizzes with my players where I'll sort of say to them, here's the board, what would be the best gem match?
Oh, that's awesome.
That.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I remember when I first started making videos, one of the things that I try to do was to highlight some of those things as well. Like, hey, here's a board, a frozen image of a board. Here is a sort of an optimal match for it as well. And just for the people who are watching here as well on the stream, there's some strategies that we now know as sort of the common things to do, like using the 3-star turn delay card, or to use the immunity cards. These all came as a result of people just practicing and trying things out, and sort of having that aha moment that, hey, this actually would work in this scenario. Now that we've had these new cards that have come up that sort of help fill in the gap. And these were sort of, things that I've learned along the way, just from reading the chats as well. And just want to say again, it comes from practice and from having the drive to try it. And so, this is one of the reasons why I do this as well, just to share this knowledge for everybody's benefit. And now what I want to do is sort of just, again, there's some new people that have joined us in the chat here. Just want to say hi to, we got Jeremy and Jeffrey Arcadian. Also Kiko, hello there, and Mount Failmore. And Yasmulo and Kamaruden. So just wanted to say hi to everybody in the chat again. So what I'm seeing right now is actually the quests fact. This is another thing I wanted to cover in today's episode before we end it. And I gave a very short 2-minute clip. I'm not sure if any of you have seen it. I uploaded maybe just about like an hour and a half ago or so because I got some sneak preview screenshots. But I did want to talk about the quest here. Now, Katie and Furion, have you had a chance to take a look at the newsfeed for quests? I can sort of go over that as well. Basically,
Yeah.
okay, so you do know what it's about, and so for those of you who are watching who may not have had a chance to take a look, just a quick summary. They're going to replace the collections, so all of the event collections that you're used to seeing, and I'm going to show you here in a screenshot here. And not accidentally buy a pack. That's not what I'm trying to do. So they're removing all of that. So the event store, so all of this is going to be replaced with quest rewards, I think. And also when you play the game itself, I think in the reward section, you used to have like these collections here in the Frenzy collection. And in the Commander event, it's going to be the Overkill collection. They're removing all of that and putting into a single tab for collections. And you can basically go through these different quests, I guess, and then earn the tokens to then redeem for it. There is a difference, though, in that if you're a non-VIP, you'll get, I guess, basically the same amount of rewards as before. I don't know what that means, like if it's exactly the same rewards or just the same number of rewards, whereas VIPs now will get something new. That's what it sounds like. And there's also additional things that they've changed in there. One that I'm not sure I agree with, and I know, Katie, you've talked about it as well, and I just wanted to highlight this. Let me go to the fact again. So basically everything is going to be in the same collections area, except you don't really collect catalysts like the way we used to. So whereas before we would be able to collect thousands and thousands of boxes of catalysts, they're now giving out actual I guess evolution treasures, they're calling it. But there's a limited number. So for non-VIPs, there's going to be 4, and then VIPs will get additional 4, so you get a total of 8. So that means you'll be able to evolve up to 4 support cards. I would assume up to 4 ultra rare cards. Oh, actually, you don't need to upgrade ultra rares anymore. So 4 events and 4 support cards if you're non-VIP, and up to 8 for VIPs. So I have my thoughts about it. What are your thoughts about the quest system?
Katie, go ahead first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it goes. I think it depends on what the questing system is. I suspect strongly that a portion of the questing system is going to be having the event deck. So I suspect that if you have the Ultra Forge, Master Collection, etc., that you will get some sort of bonus in order to, claim a piece of the quest. I think that a portion of me is this idea of getting rid of catalysts entirely from the event store. I gotta say, it's one of these things where I don't understand why Network keeps fixing things that aren't broken. Is that I don't know who asked for that in terms of why they wanted, but for me, it seems like another example of Network making things that were previously not scarce in a way that I suspect will ultimately end in them introducing scarcity of resources in multiple ways. So they've already done this by virtue of introducing 2 different types of dust and making both of them scarce by not updating the dust store for so long. The consequence of you not having lots of additional catalysts is that when they do eventually update the dust stores, you won't be able to evolve any of those. So even if it means that you have to start using your dungeon tokens in order to evolve, like you got lucky in some of the polls. The other thing is that, I mean, this does seem like yet another way that they're trying to basically require VIP in order to play this game, right? Is that there already are annoyances associated with being non-VIP. I have to admit that I am obviously a VIP member, but from what I understand, it's things like the videos will be like really not work or result in crashes on the missions, or that there will be, you have to open all of your boxes manually. Like, that's just a dick move. I suspect that this is just another mechanism that even if you're a non-VIP player, if you've been saving for a deck, right, you've been saving gems, that now if you get more than 4 of the free cards, in order to actually evolve them, you have to wait for them to come out with an eventual release of something with respect to how to get those catalysts. Like, that seems ridiculous to me. And then I guess the other thing is that this is exactly another way that they're incentivizing you to actually use money in order to play this game, because the other way you can get Catalyst, besides the 4 and 8 associated with non-VIP and VIP, is to buy packs. Is that you can buy the ultra rare pack, which comes with Catalyst in them. I assume that that's not changing, and so I suspect that what this is a way to basically it broadens the gap between sort of whales and ultra whales in that respect.
Well, I'm not sure. But, well, without seeing it, I hope I'm still holding a hope. I generally am a little bit more, generally a little bit more optimistic. I guess you could say, in terms of where I think things could go. Although I am going to be realistic about what this could mean. And one of the things is, when we don't get enough catalysts, and if we have the cards that we need to evolve, it is going to be a problem. And so I do hope that we can get that addressed soon. And just one other thing I kind of wanted to call out here too is the new Generation 3 Heroes uses new type of dust. And what's curious is they haven't updated the dust store. So currently the dust store still uses pink dust. And you can see here just on the screen, this is where, where we used to be able to get heroes, and you can also get catalysts as well as shards. Now, I'm not sure there's going to be any plans for using those dust for any of these other things, and so I'm not sure what their plans are. So like making it scarce right now, at least, until they come up with a new store that uses that dust, I guess I'm not sure if it's as impactful as just the fact that we don't have a lot of pink dust. So that's still an issue. That the ability for people to get pink dust still is an issue, and I do hope that they address that soon. And just taking a look at some of the chats here, I see Zero Alpha, first time in stream. Just wanted to say welcome to the stream here, and so thank you for the thoughts there. And it definitely is one of the things where I'm a non-VIP right now, and so I definitely have been sort of seeing that, hey, what I lose out on if I don't have VIP. But it's just sort of my personal mentality, and I hope that everybody who's watching here knows that this is how I play. Is I generally try not to let it bother me to the point where I feel like I have to buy things just to compete. And this is the reason why, again, I do this, so that we could look for ways to compete with what we have and to be successful. And also, Katie and Furion also talk about just kind of the happenings around the game. So again, another great resource to just kind of sort of get some feedback and some just kind of thoughts from around the community from what's going on there. So thanks a lot for your thoughts there, Katie. Furion, did you have anything you wanted to add to that as well?
Well, I'm trying to be open to it. I'm a little worried as well. Obviously, the catalyst situation, I'm not a fan of just yet, but we'll see what happens with that. The one thing I will say, because we've actually discussed this before, and this, to be optimistic about it, the whole quest is now we'll have to see how it goes, of course, but it's a very good opportunity for them to really up the rewards. And I know, Katie's right. It's going to all depend on how you get these rewards, and do you need the UF to accomplish some of these goals that, they're going to require in the quest to collect this stuff and whatnot. But in the end, it is a good opportunity for them to up the rewards, because let's face it, the event rewards themselves aren't the best. So it could be a very good opportunity to hopefully, increase, I don't know, pretty much anything across the board, depending on what they put in there. So I'm trying to, again, I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic about that regard. But as far as the catalysts go, yeah, I'm with Katie on that one. I'm just not a fan of them kind of getting rid of that, but we'll see what happens.
Right. So just to kind of summarize again, for the event store, these things haven't really been updated in a while, and a lot of people have sort of been giving feedback saying they wish it would be updated. So some of the more useful things, not everybody even needs it, is Longanite Shard is still actually useful for those of us who get 4-star items. It is a good way to evolve. But then things like the Smelter Shard, I have so many of them, and same with the Strikers Hills. It's just I collect them every single event, so I don't even need to collect them anymore. Just from playing the game, I get a lot. So it's just one of those things where a lot of people have mentioned they would like to see some new things. And like you say, Furion, if what I'm based on what I see, if they're tiered, so the way I sort of gave a preview, so I gave a little sneak preview. So what I saw is you can do like, a quest, and then it has like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 type thing. So I'm assuming it's like, oh, if you kill like, 10 bosses, that completes tier 1, and then you can go up to like, tier 2, and then there's more bosses, so forth. So I would hope that it means more rewards, and the more difficulty level quests gives you better rewards. And so I'm hoping that would mean things that people haven't been able to see in, I mean, gosh, what would I like to see more of? Some additional shards or things that we can't get. It escapes me at the top of my head right now, but I'm hoping that they do it in that way. And I'm a big proponent for make it so that you can earn it through play. Like don't put it behind a paywall. That's my biggest recommendation. So to the network devs, like this is my recommendation as well, is to make it so that it's easier to obtain by playing, because I think that's just friendly for everyone, whether they pay or not. It's nice to know that you can get this through hard work, right? So that's sort of my little soapbox as well.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, no, Katie's a big advocate of earn too. So. I think you're right though, and what's funny is you're scrolling through here and I'm kind of watching whatever else. I'm trying to remember. I know they've added some stuff obviously because of when the malls came out and all that stuff, but I'm trying to remember when they actually this has been the same store ever since I've been playing. And I'm just, and even the cost, and even in the daily dungeons and stuff like that, it definitely absolutely needs a complete overhaul across the board. So I who knows, maybe we'll see that coming soon too. But it was just funny because as you were talking and then scrolling through it, I was trying to remember when the last time I saw a change, and I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it's been around for quite a while, and it also begs the question of like, these things where we earn other things in other dungeons. Like there's a gear dungeon where you can actually get catalysts for like the previous relics and things like that. Does that does that go away? Like, are they gonna change things? One of the things I know, and this is through conversations, so I do have conversations from time with different members within the dev team, and one of the things that they are saying they would like to try and do is to simplify a little bit so that it's not so complicated, especially for newer players. There's just so many different ways to get what you need, and so I do like that goal of simplifying everything, make it easy to understand where you're getting and how you can get them, but don't make it too scarce, as Katie said, and don't put it behind a paywall, right? So that's I think just things that resonate with me a lot, and so I just wanted to say thanks to you here sharing these thoughts with me and just kind of looking at the chats. And by the way, I think there were some questions that somebody was saying like, hey, let Furion know about the podcast, so you definitely have some fans as well. I believe you also reading the chat, so they do see that as well, and the chats will be available in the stream as well when you do a replay, so you can see that as well. And so with that, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. So, thank you, Katie and Furion, for joining us. And thank you, everybody in the stream, for joining us. Again, I just wanted to let you know this Thursday, I'm probably not going to be able to stream, but I will have a video to talk about the event deck and sort of how you can play with that. And do take a look at the gameofzeros.com. I will have the link to the podcast in my description below. And so, again, just, put your give me comments, let me know what your thoughts are, and give me some feedback. You can always reach out to me on the network app as well as Furion Cloud and KTC Esquire. They are friendly people, as you could tell. And so look forward to hearing from you guys soon. So that's it. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having us, man.
Cool. All right.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody, or have a good morning
night.
wherever you are. Take care.